So I was saying that we have a bit of
Hear
content.
me?
Can you hear me?
Can someone say something? Because I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me?
Can't hear you. I just came off another Zoom call. I'm having trouble with audio. So, grr, I'm going to keep trying to figure it out. I'm here.
Yeah. Do you guys want to start? Maybe just all of us checking in? How are we feeling? What's going on with us?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think it was a big week. My older one started kindergarten on Monday, and so I had like anxiety at the beginning of the week, but it's day 3 now and we're getting into a rhythm slowly. Yeah, and I'm just taking it like very slow intentionally because there's just, a lot going on and I feel good about taking it slow. So yeah, I'm like still like doing things, but kind of slowly and very so I'm feeling more balanced.
Nice.
Yeah, I do think slow is a little bit of the vibe over here too. It's our last week before our kids go back to school and everyone's had a cold. And sometimes those viral sicknesses turn the kind of like to put the foot on the brake in a way that can sometimes be frustrating, but also I think needed. And I'm in a time where I'm less scheduled by other people. I have fewer things on my calendar every day that's like paid work. But after our session last time, I don't know, I like felt a little shift and I've been in this mode of just like really getting excited about the opportunity to build, the opportunity to deepen relationships, just, to be at a different stage of the process. And that's felt really good.
Yeah. Oh, it's really good to hear you guys talking about being slow because I'm recognizing that I'm coming in here with the like my spiritual be with state is really present and spacious and available, like really flowy. And my do mode is almost the opposite, where I'm like, oh, we've got a lot to do, let's get. And I think I want to bring them both together. Like, yeah, we have things to do today, but how can I bring that? I think kind of also, Ariel, what you were saying last time. Like, how do we bring the knowing and the confidence into and the spaciousness into the creating and the building and the so I'm just bringing that up right now for myself. How are you doing, Colleen? Can you hear us?
Finally, yes, I figured out. I just went through a whole session having to be on my phone, which was very frustrating. But yes, I figured it out. And I'll tell you, it was very simple. I had my laptop on mute the whole time. So I feel so dumb right now, but okay. I'm here. I'm here for the important stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah, just
I'm like, oh, dummy. Anyway, how is everyone?
everyone's good. I'm good. We were just doing little updates. If
Okay.
if you'd like to share just where you're at in this moment, what you're feeling, what you're looking forward to.
Despite feeling dumb, technically dumb, I am doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay today. I'm tired. I was in Long Island for a couple of days worth of meetings with my company and yeah, I'm doing all right.
Okay. I'm going to dive right in then to our content, though Sonja is not here yet. So we'll do our mantra reading, and then by then, hopefully Sonja will join, or she'll join whenever and watch the recording. I really enjoy this space with you all. Last week's session was so good. I'm really looking forward to reading, Colleen, that book that you mentioned. I downloaded it, and I peered at a few pages.
Excellent.
Okay, so inviting ourselves. My intention is that we're going to be spending some time with decision making and pitch practice, and to be able to root into my spiritual space as I lead a session on tasks and doing. That's my intention for today. And offering that intention to my mantra, requesting to hear your voices so that you can help me with that intention. And so we can bring in the universe, the divine, whatever our word is for spirit. Krishna, 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 hey. And now requesting to hear you.
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, hey.
And offering the request to the universe for clarity on who are our people, what product, what result, what pain point do we help them with? Krishna, 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 hey.
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare.
And requesting that we find the decision-making power within ourselves to call those people in, and requesting the universe, spirit, and everything that is to align itself so that they come into our space naturally and automatically. Krishna, 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 hey.
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare.
All right. And requesting ending the mantra practice with awareness of ease, and sharing my screen as we get started. Feel crystal clear about your pitch without rambling. That's our goal. Of course, this requires practice and there's changes in it, but that's our goal internally, to have that sense by the end of this session. So generally, when we make a pitch, we're going to explore all the different things that happen inside. There's two parts to making a pitch that we will explore the internal space of making the decision, and the external space of practicing the pitch. So a few things we'll explore in this talk is the process of decision making. We'll be going over the decision line, and in there you'll be exploring decisions that are made for you versus by you, the unknowns inside decisions, what to do with the resistance that comes up when you're making a decision, the emotion of pretending to decide, and the symptoms of decisions that stick. The reason I have placed decision making with the pitch practice is that when we're practicing our pitch, there's so many elements of that pitch that get us confused because we haven't yet internally aligned ourselves with what it is that we're actually doing. What do we actually want to do? Are we doing something Are we meeting that particular professional and saying those particular words because it's an external expectation, because it's something we've declared but not yet decided, or something that we have decided? And we may find that the words are on all parts of that, and just exploring, we're going to have a linear process of exploring how to move yourself from the lowest end, which is a decision made by somebody else, to the highest end, which is an internal core decision made by you. This process took me 2 years. I started with busy professionals who have corporations, and now my core decision is I'm here to help school leaders. Now that may change in a year as well, but that's where I'm at right now, where my decision is super in this state 8 is what I call, and I'll be exploring that with you. In the external, so the first part of it is decision making. The second part of the talk today is practicing your pitch. We'll be exploring 3 things: your people, your pain problem, and the product, the tangible result they will achieve. And the end result, we're hoping you'll have a few sentences that are, I help people with this problem, this pain problem. So exploring that pain in those words, achieve this product. Now, sometimes people say, achieve this result, achieve this promise, achieve this state of being. I say product, and it's a tangible thing, and I'll explain that to you towards the end of the talk. We will map decisions made by others, what you don't truly want to do, that you recognize it's a pressure from someone else. Decisions where you've helped others, who have you helped and what have you helped with, and decisions you've loved. We will create ease. The purpose of this process is to create ease and calm your resistance saboteur, which is what causes rambling and lack of clarity, is the saboteur and the resistance. When we fight the resistance, it causes confusion, and loving the resistance creates ease, so that when you say it, it's a shorter sentence, it's clear, and then later on, this is the initial of just crafting your initial pitch. When you're experienced, which I think maybe Ariel in this room is probably the most experienced, as far as talking to people, you start learning how to create this pitch depending on who you're with. We won't be doing that work just yet today. That can come in a future session, that your pitch comes out just because you've connected to the person that you're listening to. Today, we're going to be working on our side of it, not the other person's side of it. So not the prospecting side, but our identity side. Stephen Pressfield talks about decision making and who we are, and that like inner core part of saying your pitch in his book, The War of Art. I don't know if any of you have read that book. It's an incredible book. He has 2 parts he calls the pro and the amateur. And in making a strong decision and moving forward regardless of the resistance, he calls that turning pro. There's no mystery to turning pro, which means like you've made the decision. It's a decision brought about by an act of will. We make up our minds to view ourselves as pros, and we do it. Simple as that. Now, if you look at this book, every single page is just a short few words. It's an incredible book where he just super clarifies, like, basically, forgive my language, but fuck the resistance, move on. Like literally every single passage is just exile the resistance, kill the resistance, and move on. And it makes it super simple, and it's helpful in the short term. The problem is that it's not, that creates burnout and stress in the inner state of being, and it's not necessarily that simple. So I have stretched the process of decision making out, which will cause your pitches to be more easy. This is the decision line. Now I'm going to go through this decision-making process. Before I hop into this whole decision line, I'm going to just check in with everybody as to what are your thoughts as far as how decision-making is connected to your pitches? Any thoughts here?
Yeah, actually, as you were saying it, it was saying that statement about that's where your resistance saboteur comes in. That's so meaningful to me, because that is definitely, I feel myself as I'm saying my pitch, there's like a big question mark over my head. Like, am I really? Like, oh, I help leaders. Do you really? So like it's so resonated for me.
I think there's some just really practical, like where do I draw the line? Whether it comes to like if there's certain clients coming to you and like should I coach this person even though they're not really my target audience because it'll be revenue. Like there's like decisions like that as well as like, oh, should I give this person a discount? Because like, even though this is what I said of my, my rate is. So there's a lot of like things that might come to you and you have to be very clear on, who your audience is and who you're here to serve.
It's a good question. I feel like so the relationship between decision making and pitches, I don't know if I'm quite there, but I imagine that to the extent that I will make firmer decisions about who to coach and who not, that the pitch is strengthened by that. I think it's harder, to Colleen's point, to make a strong pitch when that decision is not made or we haven't wrestled to the ground some of our own resistance. Yeah.
I also, yeah, that resonates. I also, there's like all the, like, if I'm going to make a pitch, like then there are some implicit decisions, right? That you're somebody that I might want to work with, that like, I'm going to pitch something that's what I want to offer and not, and not something else. Also the decision that like I'm now in there's like that I have decided that this relationship between us is ready for a pitch. And so I like it's both decisions about myself and then decisions that I've made about the relationship and the moment that we're in.
That's a great point, Ariel. Can we define what we mean by pitch? Because I think of pitch, I think of just the general, someone says, what do you do, Colleen? And I say, well, I help leaders integrate themselves, whatever I say, right? The way you're defining it is I'm ready to actually pitch you as a client. So what are we talking about, Gopi?
I say that it's going to be different for each of us because we're at different. Ariel's got a practice that she's been doing for what, 2, 3 years, 5 years now. And Colleen, you haven't started that officially coaching practice. And so
Okay.
it's going to be different for each of us.
Okay.
So for you, the pitch is like, okay, I help XYZ do XYZ. That's your pitch. It's like very much in the identity space.
Yeah.
That this is who I am now, that I'm not the HR leader, I'm this, or I'm both, or however, not one without the other. And for Ariel, it's like, let me get you and bring you in. Let me say words that will connect us, and let me even see if you're ready to come in, is what you just said, Ariel, which is like, it's a whole nother way of pitching, or it's more the prospecting side of pitch.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like, even in my own, it's really only been like a year and a half that I've been coaching. Glad that I convey sturdiness. That'd be lies. How long I've been doing it, but I do think like with anyone offering, or kind of the way that, like Gopi was saying, what you were saying earlier, like this is where I am. So even if you get accustomed to one, like this is who I am and this is what I offer, there's the like moving through towards the prospecting, but then also I think there's a constant, I feel like a constant state of redefinition.
Yeah.
That resonates.
That's great. That right there, constant state of redefinition.
Mm-hmm.
I put this presentation together with the story in mind of myself what happened to me yesterday. I've been like flirting, not in the romantic way, but with a school leader who already paid me for the month of July and paid me for the month of August, but I had not yet completely committed to accepting that client into my ecosystem and have been offering little products, because payment has been submitted, but I haven't totally, like, it hadn't fully landed that this is what I'm doing. And yesterday, saw a message that they had posted in their group with their teachers, totally freaked out. I was also PMSing. Came, wrote them a response, got on a 20-minute call with them, told them I'm feeling all kinds of emotions. It was not, it was not well done. I totally bungled it. Hung up, realized, what is wrong with me? And then recognized that I hadn't yet decided that I was gonna serve this group, this school. And then was like, oh my God, yeah, I haven't yet decided. And then went through the process of decided 5 hours later, sent him a message apologizing and bringing it back to center and fixing it and then moving forward. And so everything I put together here, I have learned and I've presented in other spaces, but it's also very personal to what happened yesterday. So that's why I'm going to check in with you guys to see, is it relevant to what you're working through? Is it relevant to the decisions that you're trying to make? And so each of us are working on a decision to formulate our pitch. I'd love to hear, like, what is the overarching decision right now that you are working with before we continue? Like, are there some decisions that you've decided that you've not 100% decided that you're still working on that are in our space, that have to do with, the way that you pitch or the way that you talk to your future clients?
I can think of a couple. I'll just throw in. This is super relevant for me right now, Gopi. I came out of a field, right? And so there's people there, there's relationships there, there's coaching that I could do, right? That I am doing. I think my essential decision is, will I or will I not continue to coach people who are not necessarily showing up for spiritual development along with regular coaching? It doesn't serve me very well. It feels like a lot of work to me to coach people who are not at the starting line of having a high awareness of themselves and their spiritual path.
Mhm.
I'm doing it, but it seems like a lot of work.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
You feel that? There's
You're
like a,
really, yeah, you're like really standing in your power right now, Sonja. You're like, I'm not here for this.
Well, I'm doing it, right? And but I can just tell that the clients that are coming my way, it's just going to sound terrible. There's some of them I just get irritated with them because where they're at is at such a low level of functioning that I'm like, we can't even get to the start line of the kind of relationship they have with themselves because they're not aware of having one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had that experience. It's really frustrating. Both ends, probably.
yeah, that's a powerful decision. Okay. So you're going to explore that today and see if you get a pitch or some wording or something that can make it tangible, to see if you can weed those out, those that you don't want. What about the rest of us?
I have so many decisions that I'm batting around in my brain.
I think
Mhm.
okay, go ahead.
I think I've been like, as you know, bouncing around from like entrepreneur, or should I go back to my huge corporate network, or like to nonprofit leaders? But I think in all of this over the past month, I'm like I've become pretty clear that it has to be clients who are not just focused on their personal lives. Like, I'm not interested in coaching people who are just interested in improving their personal life. Like that's a waste of time for me. It has to be leaders who are interested in making a difference in their society or like world,
Mm-hmm.
because God, we need it. And, I'm not just in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really trying to, I'm like you, I've been like on ChatGPT the last couple of days, like really trying to tweak that to make it clear that it's not, it has to be people looking to make a bigger impact.
Mhm. All right, Ariel, Colleen. It doesn't have to be a decision that you're making in this moment. It can just be something you're thinking of, something you're flirting with, something you're wondering about.
Yeah. I think so. I'm still in this place of Monica. That really resonates for me. I'm in this place of I want people to be self-realized. Like I want to help people become self-realized leaders, and that leadership might be in a corporate setting. I think there is value to me working in a corporate setting from a monetary perspective. Like we know that's where the big money is, right? So that is where my practical and pragmatic side goes. It's all rooted in self-integration and self-realization. So I'm really trying to figure out how to package that in a way that makes sense. That's what's bouncing around for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna just like acknowledge the voice that's like, this isn't the most important question. It would just like let this decision point be one that I work with today. On what feels like practical but related to what Sonja was saying, I've been spending a decent amount of time with folks who are more interested in career coaching and kind of transitions from, like a lot of fired federal workers. And they have like short time frames and budget constraints and their source of revenue. There's a big need right now. And I do think there is with some people, there's like an opportunity to connect with the spiritual level in a way that fuels their job search. But it's also not the like longer term depth conversation, right? Like like it's like I'm, helping people get outfitted to go surfing, but not, like not being, next to them in the waves. And so a decision of like whether I'm going to continue to offer that kind of mini offering or hold the line and say, no, the way I coach is for this longer period of time and in this way.
Okay. All right. So also holding space for that voice. And I remember you had said that you would prefer to coach organizations than to call in an organization because it's higher ticket and easier.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So like that, and maybe, so like the two types of business I get are individuals that I coach, and then these like organizational contracts where I'm, maybe it's supporting strategic planning, or maybe it's helping with a leader it's like the modality is more varied. There's like a little bit of, I bring my coaching mentality, but it's not a coaching partnership.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to throw that in there and ask if that was something
yeah,
that was on the table as
yeah.
well. Or...
I mean, I feel like I want more clients like that. I don't have a decision that I'm making around it.
Okay.
Can you have any advice about how to formulate? That's one where I would like to work. Like,
So
I would
that's
like
what
to
we'll
work.
work on right now.
Okay, great.
All right. And so now it's going to just be content to get through, and it's going to be a lot of information. And if I'm going too fast, if you want me to pause at any point, just say, hey, Gopi, okay, chill now, slow down. Is that all right? Okay. All right. So this is the decision line. I'm very excited about this decision line. It's got 8 steps. The first step is usually what we have in our childhood. Someone else is deciding everything for us. And depending on which culture you come from, either in your teenage years or sometimes your 20s and 30s, you start recognizing, or for a lot of us in our 40s, oh my God, this is not what I want to be doing. I want to be doing something else. So then that starts after you move into step 2, which you're no longer now doing what is your purpose and your work in the world. It's from your desire. So step 2 is your desire. Step 3 is as soon as you make that desire, there's the opposite that comes in, which is the uncertainty of this new space you're in. You pass through that uncertainty and you move into step 4, which is a declaration. So from a desire to uncertainty to, oh my God, yes, this is what I'm going to do. Declaration. After the declaration comes the opposite, even stronger, which is resistance. And resistance usually shows in procrastination, shame, anger, frustration, pain, shutting everybody out. And then we move past that and go into step 6, which is the unknown. Step 7, trust. And step 8, the decision. We're going to be exploring this in the next 20 minutes or so. Every single one of these has an emotion, an emotional state that accompanies it. When someone else is deciding, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad in step 1. Sometimes you don't really know. It's just like, childhood time, or it might be like for those of us who are in Asian cultures where I became a doctor because my parents told me I had to be a doctor, or I got married to him because that was just the expectation and I wanted to do it, but I don't know if I actually did it. So depending on, I'm trying to relate something to the American, because I'm Indian, there's a lot of decisions that are made for us in our childhood, but it's like this, oh, like everybody had to get a corporate job. So I went and I got a corporate job, like that type of someone else decides. Like the 9 to 5 is just what the world is. And so that's what we're doing. That's someone else's decision. Then you move to the state of being, or the feeling for when you have your desire, is a state of happiness. When you feel your desire come in, it's a state of gangshiti. Sometimes there's what is called longing or wanting, and we experience it as a happy state. And then from there, the happy state moves to suchiti, or uncertainty. Sometimes in the uncertainty, there may be even lamentation. Like after you have that desire, now, like I was telling you about envisioning and sustainability, you feel like, oh my God, I don't have it. I can't feel it. I don't know what's happening. Why did I want this? This is crazy. This is new. So there's the uncertainty. Now, uncertainty is a little different than stage 6, which is the unknown. Uncertainty actually has this feeling of being empty and lost and scared. Then when you pass through that, you get through this declaration. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to coach. I'm going to coach executives. I'm going to coach school leaders. And it's a declaration. And I put the sunglasses because it's more of a performative external thing. It comes with spending money. It comes with like a strong internal emotional state of cool. Yay, I got it. It's an external. It's not yet been completely decided when you're in declaration state. It feels like a decision. It's a pretending to decide, but it's still going through the process of decision when you're at the declaration state. For me, the declaration state is when I sign up for courses, when I spend money, when I call somebody in and say, yeah, okay, let's get started. Let's have 3 sessions. I haven't yet fully decided because it's an external thing. And it does come with a strong emotion. Usually right after that declaration, you'll get the resistance. The resistance is usually all negative. Um, it's, when things happen in our surroundings, like we discussed in the past, when we're just like everything's shaking up and we're not okay with it. And for me specifically, because I am a dramatic person, I'll do other strong dramatic things to like push that particular client that came in away, or push that decision away and go the other direction, sabotage myself, et cetera, like we spoke about in previous sessions. Then emotional state for the unknown past the resistance, which is usually the highest negative in this, like difficulty in this process is number 5. When you move past that and you move into the unknown, this unknown is not the emotion of uncertainty and not the emotion of resistance. This unknown state has no emotional connection to it. Now, many programs and books say that the unknown accompanies terror. I push back on that. What I promote and preach is that the unknown does not have to accompany terror. The terror means you're still in step number 5. That when you come into the unknown space and you have worked on and taken care of yourself during step number 5, which we'll talk about, the unknown is peaceful, non-emotional, no happy, no sad, equanimous, the way Monika talked about her grandfather state. And from there, you bring in trust, whether through community or your spiritual practice, and then you make your decision. The final decision that you make, that decision when you've decided, is quiet. It's not loud. It's not a big smile. It's not a sunglasses, rah, rah, look how cool I am, I'm doing this. It's usually not a Facebook post and not a declaration at all. It has no emotional, it's as boring as I've decided to wake up and take a shower now. We decide to wake up and take a shower every day, and we do it without any fanfare, and it's a quiet ritual routine decision that we've made. That's when you know you've decided on whatever it is that you're looking to decide on. I've decided to coach school leaders, and they're coming in every day, and I'm talking to them. I've got meetings, and this is just what my life is because this is what I've decided. So step 1, someone else decides. When someone else decides for you, these are the questions to ask. Am I coaching because I'm feeling pressure? Why am I coaching? Why have I decided to coach? Why coaching and not art classes? Why coaching and not cooking? Why am I coaching? Is this someone else's expectation for me? But I don't really want to be doing this. Do I prefer doing something else? What do I want to do instead? Why do I want to coach? Or whatever the decision is. Right now, we're talking 2 coaches, so coaching is here. If it's teaching, if it's running a school, if it's, playing with your kids, whatever the decision may be, going to work out, have a, going extra time on your schedule for workout routine. Why am I doing this? So that is the first part in the decision-making process, to identify whose decision is this? Am I deciding that I'm going to work out because I was raised in the 80s and I think I have to have a thin body? Am I deciding I'm going to work out because I can see that my dad's health is like, even though he worked out so much, his health in his 80s is rough and he's giving me tips. And so I want to make sure that I'm really healthy. Like, that's step number 1. From step number 2 to step number 5, usually our decisions are in this cycle. We very rarely will move past step number 5. The things that we have in our life right now is what is past step number 5. So what our life is exactly as we have it right now, the money that we're making is what we have decided in step number 8. The people that we're around, the love life that we have, the relationship we have with our children, all of this is that decision step number 8. What we are trying to change, move out of status quo, usually goes from 2 to 5, and that's where will and habit forming and all of those programs, and that's literally what we're here as coaches to help people with, is step number 2 to step number 5. So that's actually pretending to decide. If you make a declaration and then you fall into resistance and then you drop that decision, then you move back up into 2, 3, 4, 5. I did this cycle with this school leader for 2 months. I did this cycle with school leaders for 2 years, where I knew I was here to help school leaders, but I wasn't yet ready. So it took me 2 years to get to the point where I can say, okay, I'm here for school leaders. I'm going to support school leaders. And maybe not just school leaders, but with this specific thing, I'm going to help people with mantra. I'm going to bring spiritual practice into the world through my mantra practice. All of this has taken me 2 years to do. So I've been in this state. Now, the word pretending to decide is a little negative. It's got a little judginess to it. And the judginess there is there for us to recognize, am I pretending to make this decision or do I really want to do it? And the judginess can be dropped when you actually spend time with this number 5, resistance, shame, and anger. So what's happening in this path, in this cycle, is that you have 2 identities. The 2 identities are at odds with each other. You have the identity of your desire and your declaration, the person, the future self that you want to be. And you have the identity of your uncertainty and your resistance, shame, and anger, the person, your current state that feels like it needs to change in order to move into your next identity. They're exploring each other and they're at odds with each other. And this exploration shows up as a war and as uncertainty and resistance. What's happening when you're trying to decide is that your former or your current identity is rejecting your future self, and your future self is rejecting your current state. And this war creates this intense resistance, shame, and anger. And so instead of just saying, you just need to decide the way Stephen Pressfield does in The Art of War, which I do love that book, but there's a little bit more depth. Instead of just do it, Tony Robbins, a lot of these programs are just like, just get over it, just do it, which is helpful to a certain extent. But for those of us who are in already high outcome type of mindsets, all 5 of us have high outcome mindsets. We're used to being in corporate world, push, 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 pressure, pressure, pressure. Instead of continuing that space in our coaching practice, stopping to blanket those identities with love is the way that you take care of yourself at step number 5. Instead of rejecting yourself and your resistance, you love your current state, which you guys already know this, which is why we're coaches. This is what we do with our clients, which is why we're here together in this little abundance community. Instead of exiling your former past or exiling your future desires, so that the temptation can be to reject who I'm going to be, which is what I did with the school leader. Like yesterday, I just totally was like, okay, I'll just pay you the money back that you gave me. Literally, I said these words. All right, let's cancel out the contract. I'll pay you back July and August. I'll return that. And then he was like, okay, let's cancel it out. And then I hung up and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I canceling this? I'm so grateful that I had this client come in. What is wrong with me? Instead of canceling my future or canceling my past, listen, which is what the resistance wants to do is both. Listen to the feelings and make some space to love that state. And so now that you're loving, when you love both identities, when there's significant love, pouring love. So I poured love into myself for a year and a half. I considered myself burnout. I went to a bunch at CTI, I met you guys at CTI. I did a bunch of coaching practices. I learned how to coach. I was bringing clients in, but I hadn't 100% fully decided this is what I was doing. I was recognizing every time I drove by the school or I saw a picture of something happening at my former school, I would cry, and I loved myself in that state. And I didn't put any task list. I moved all my Post-it notes aside, and I loved my current state. I spent so much time with myself in number 5 that this weekend was a big festival, Krishna's Appearance Day, and I was in Malibu, and I didn't want to be away from my temple. And I decided that instead of being with my clients for 3 days, I was going to, suddenly I woke up and suddenly I decided that this is what I'm doing. And it was such a quiet decision that I just changed my ticket without telling anybody, came back home and started moving forward. Like I'm telling you a lot of stories, but there's many, many decisions I've been making and trying to see where they're at. And I'm just at this state in my life at the highest state of decision number 8 for my coaching practice, because I spent so much time taking care of myself at number 5. Then moving into the unknown. I know I'm in the unknown right now, bringing in my trust, and then making the decision. And so when you get past number 5 and into 6 is where flow starts. And then you experience number 6 as less terror. You don't experience number 6 as craziness and so much terror. And then you bring in trust. Who can you do networking with? Okay, networking is scary for me. Who can I do it with? Who can I call when I'm having a difficult day? Who is my community? Where do I feel Krishna? universe, divine protection. Where do I feel safety? And that becomes my primary state. And then when I feel number 5 coming in again, or a declaration, or number 2, I have done this process and I know what I need to bring myself back to number 8. Now, it is also possible that during the unknown, during the resistance, during number 5, that you'd end up dropping this decision. Oh, wait, I don't really want this. Okay, I'm not going to do this. So then you start again at number 1, at number 2, what is it that you want? And then the decision, when you finally make your decision, when you know that you've decided, there's no emotion in it, it's quiet, it's deep, you've got both sides of yourselves fully being loved. There's routine there. There's no big brouhaha, like when you decide you're done sleeping and you get to take a shower. And so, wow, that wasn't so bad. I thought that was going to take 20 minutes. I think it only took 10. I don't know. But that's what the decision line is. And now we can discuss. I'd love for you to actually look at this decision line and journal first. And the journaling as to like, and I'll put on some music, what decisions do you have at which state? Maybe 3 examples. Like, I know there's one decision I'm trying to make. It's at a number 2. Is at another decision at a number 6. So let's identify a few decisions at which state. And then we'll share 3, and then we'll talk openly about the decision line. I'm going to stop the share real quick just to get some music on. Oh, wait, I can actually share and do music at the same time.
So Gopi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just for clarification,
Yes.
what we're doing here is looking at some of the essential decisions we have going on right now and then connecting them back to a state.
This seamless
Yes.
listing bra understands
Sorry.
all senior ladies.
Did you hear that? No, okay.
Wow, great.
Oh, good. Okay. Connecting them to a state. Yes. So if you have 3 decisions, 3 examples of 3 decisions that are connected to a state. And I'll put up the states real quick as soon as I get this sound going. And we'll write our thoughts and journal for about, I think.
Sorry, how long did you say?
7 minutes. All right. What's here? What's present in our hearts?
It was really helpful to hear, and like I found the exercise really helpful because even like listening to you walk through the decision line, I was like, okay, I get that. And then just like normalizing the different phases, it made me realize that well, I was gonna say it made me realize like there's more shame and resistance. I'm like more at 5 in places than I walked into this conversation thinking that I was. But also then I was like, oh, okay, well, this is just like a part of the process as opposed to like feel good, right, feel bad, wrong. It was like, okay, well, this is, this is a part of the process. It's just information.
I'm hearing you say that, and I'm realizing that maybe I should change the name of that step so that it becomes, so that it's not seen as a negative. Because you're right, it's a part of the process. And I think most of us spend a lot of time in number 5 because we need to. We're literally changing identities for every decision we're making. So just thinking about that.
The other thing that came up is I started thinking about all these business decisions, kind of business related decisions and where I was on the line. And then the other thing that came up was noticing what personal decisions that are related to my business that are kind of like further down the process. Like a thing I've been saying to my husband really like for a year now, maybe over a year, like we need to have a scenario plan for like the most austere budget. And now like his severance from the federal government will end at the end of September. He doesn't have a job yet. And I was like, I think we can go into a time of more scarcity, but like we need to be able to be in conversation about what our values are, what's core, what we want to let go of. And we just couldn't do it for a while. We just couldn't do it. And a variety of decisions that I've made on the business front have given us like data and given me confidence and open up spaces so that we could like finally decide that we were going to have that conversation and just finally be like, okay, here it is. Right. And it just like taking a shower. It's like, oh, this is just this. And it's like completely neutral. It actually has no emotional charge at all. And that like there's lots of decisions, and that the making some of those decisions about the business also unlock kind of like get me to a state of equanimity and things that aren't business related too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I hear you right, and then maybe this is just a segue for me to both understand and then share what I think came out of this. So Arya, what you were saying is, interesting that there's so many smaller and connected and wide-ranging decisions that are lumped in with the decision of who am I here to serve and what's my business about, that each fit in somewhere in here. And is that fair? I mean, that surprised you? Yeah. And I would say, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I wouldn't have thought that the essential question of, like, who am I here to serve, or like, what's my business about, that that I wouldn't have anticipated that I would sort of parse it up. And I have other questions out there about the business that each have their stage of decisionness about them. But this was really revealing, Gopi, because they do. I mean, I have three like really like essential questions. Like, always on my mind is like, what is my next expansion? What is the direction that I am growing in? How will I continue to grow as a coach? What about my own development am I investing in? And what is the thing, right? Because this is the wild west of being a coach, is that we could develop in any direction all the time, if nothing else. I mean, there's so much that we could do, that I could do. So that question of what is my learning edge? What is my next thing? What is my next expansion, retreat, line of study, inquiry, blah, blah, blah. And so that to me landed in the stage of trust, meaning it requires community, it requires spiritual practice. It's farther down on the decision line because, yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. So that was like, oh, now I see how this works. And then I had another question around like, what is my relationship and decision making around social media, right? You guys have heard me talk about this. And I saw that this might be in a stage of declaration because I met with my social media person this morning and actually made some decisions. And I feel a little bit of excitement, right? I put some money into it and it's actually going to happen, right? I have a new opt-in on my website as of yesterday. I have a little present that you get if you opt in on my website. So if you guys want to opt in and just be a tester and download my present and receive my next newsletter, please do so, just as a fun. I think I have like 12 subscribers. So anyway.
I think I'm one of them because I was looking at your website the other day and I think I signed up for your newsletter.
Okay, so that might have been before the present, because the present came on board like 2 days ago. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
So there's like, yeah, that seems like a declaration, right? Like something that's already done. But I don't know what it means, right? It's sort of like, oh my God, here I go. What am I gonna do now? And then the third one is like what I talked about first, right? Who do I really want to serve? Or the question is, will I say no to coachees who are not interested in exploring their spirituality as part of our coaching? And my question is really will I coach people who are only interested in improving within the context of their job, or kind of improving certain aspects of their life, like their health or their family, their relationship with their spouse, or their relationship to their job? Or, will I coach people who are just interested in a small slice of life, or that come to me with what I perceive as relatively, well, it was just terrible, right? It feels like a big judgment. But will I coach people who come with a pretty low level of awareness about where they want to go or why? And that seems like maybe that's the desire. Like I have something more that I don't know what that is. Maybe that's the desire stage. Anyway, I'll leave it there, rambling on. Thank you.
I just want to say, I don't think that's judgment, Sonja. I think that is you choosing your path. I don't see that as a judgment, because you're not, I just don't see that as a judgment.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for saying that. I mean, yeah, we gotta work, come to the start line of where we are at too, so that our gift can do its thing.
Yeah.
You have to vibe with the person, right? Like if that's a spiritual vibe or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's like you, Colleen. Would you work with a leader who wasn't aware of their mental health path, or maybe had even received a diagnosis, who was actually already in therapy or had dedicated time to therapy? Would you coach with somebody who wasn't at the level of awareness? Maybe so, or maybe not, right? What are the things that you would ask in your intake that would raise a red flag for you to say, around mental health? What would you need to know around somebody's mental health to say yes to coaching them?
Yeah, it's a good question that I haven't thought about. But yes, that's how I would equate it.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely. You know, we have, like, Monica, you were very clear a couple of, 2 sessions ago. You're like, I don't want to, or maybe both of you, Monica and Sonja, I don't want to coach men. And then you started rethinking that and you're like, no, that's actually not true. I want to, I think there is there is a baseline that we have to operate from. And I love how you said it, so for our gift to do its thing, right? We have to have that confidence. And that's where that confidence comes from. Knowing, hey, this is where I operate at my optimal power.
Yeah. What was that for you, Colleen, on the decision line? What were the states?
My decision line. So I feel like I am very much still in that 2 to 5 state, those 2 stages of 2 to 5. So, the first one, my desire, like, it's taken me a really long time to tap into what makes me happy. And I'm not sure that, look, I'm getting emotional. So clearly I'm picking up on something. I know parts of what makes me happy with respect to work, and with respect to the work that I do. It still feels incomplete. So I'm trying to figure out what that is. Emotion. So I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah. So that, I guess, to put it in a decision term, I just said, like, what is still missing? Or is that lack of confidence? I don't know. It could kind of go either way.
We love your emotions.
So that's a big one. Yeah. Yeah. And then the others are, kind of all around the same thing. Like, I've started crafting my pitch, but can it be complete if I don't really have my desire fully mapped out? And I'm not an all or nothing person, so I think this can evolve over time. But yeah, that's kind of like that's the crux of it.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And then Monica, and then we'll move towards the pitch.
Yeah. Well, first, I love how Ariel brought in the personal decisions outside of like the business one, because I was like started seeing all over my life decisions I've recently made or I'm in, like, as like through the line, and it was like really powerful. And I was like, oh wow, even like my decision to be like, I'm gonna like rest and take it slow over the last like month or two, like, it's kind of gone through the states and back up, and I feel the clarity and then shame and all the stuff. So it's been very interesting to see that. More than the business side, actually, I'm like more interested in that, looking at my life through that lens. But on the business side, a couple of things, like, I'm very clear, and I'm not sure if this is I think it probably is a declaration state because it's newer, but focusing on leaders looking to improve the world, there's even decisions within that. Like, my real wish is to focus on leaders in the international development space, because it was actually my first degree. Like, I really wanted to do that in my career. Didn't end up doing that, but it was like this like wish I had, like, deeply. And then the practical side of me was like, half of them just got laid off. And as much as I want to serve them, like, I don't think they can have the budget, like, for the rates I want to raise, right? So there's like all this like a little swirl there, but I'm like, let me just keep it broad for now, and then we'll see. So there's decisions within even like clarity, which is interesting. Still feel for the radar all charge, like, I would say still feel uncertainty. Like, there's a desire is clear for like 300 baseline, but then I feel the uncertainty of like, will I get people right in the space who can pay that? And then the third one is deciding if I want to start some sort of like group coaching, which is, there's a desire, but there's like the uncertainty. I'm like, I don't have experience. Do I have the bandwidth? Like a lot of questions of should have had a collaborator. So those are some things in my mind.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I love also this, you and Colleen also brought it up with your emotion, this present stage, this personal, that the personal and the business is hand in hand, that it's not separated, that it is all part, it can't be separated. And so I'm just going to say a few things and then move. I feel like we could talk for another 15 minutes on this. So let me ask you that. Do we want to continue open-ended discussions with each other on this and do pitch practice in 2 weeks? I have a whole nother set of slides on pitch. Or do we want to go through the slides on pitch and what would you all prefer?
Uh, hmm. I feel like in the interest of moving forward, pitch feels right. Yeah.
All right.
Like you said, Gopi, we could talk about this. I could talk about this forever because like this is the state I feel like I've been in for a year and a half. So
I'm glad we're straddling it over several weeks. I couldn't remember, I couldn't understand quite what your decision was, Colleen, but I wouldn't mind the information to noodle on about pitch for maybe throwing it in on Wednesday and certainly in 2 weeks. Is that what you meant, Colleen?
Oh no, I meant like
talking about it.
I meant starting to talk about it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could do that too. Like introduce the concept and keep going.
Yeah. Because I saw a nods when Colleen said, let's keep going. So let's keep going. You know, it'll be 10 minutes, and then we'll be combining the decision and the pitch together in our minds for the next week. We can discuss it again next Wednesday. This pitch practice is in this space. Now we're moving into the bottom of the identity and into the prospecting, and this is going to be a few weeks. Because this is an ongoing space of because there's crafting the pitch, there's refining the pitch, there's practicing the pitch, there's bringing people in for free at that pitch if you're a brand new coach. There's like so much here with like this pitch part. It's all the prospecting part. And so is that okay with you, Sonja? If we continue on and then we can just noodle on and we can discuss decision align next Wednesday as well.
Okay.
All right. As we technically have only 15 minutes left. But you know what? Whatever is meant to be here has arrived inside of us. And so, in keeping in mind your decision, the decisions that you discussed, the one thing I wanted to say before we move on to pitch slide is whatever state you're at your desire, you're at declaration, you're at uncertainty, you're at resistance. The way to move forward is not to push yourself forward, but to stay so fully present with the emotion, with this little smiley face or this little sad face in this space that it releases and naturally glides you forward. So the goal isn't to look at this line and think, oh my God, I'm at number 2, I gotta be at number 8. The goal is I'm at number 3 and I love my number 3. And I'm at number 5 and I'm going to give as much love to myself at number 5 as I absolutely need. And on my own, naturally, like when a kid is done eating ice cream, they're done eating ice cream. On my own, naturally, I move forward like it's another force that comes in to move me forward. I'm not moving forward myself. So just that awareness, and we'll do more decision line work. Okay, so the practicing of the pitch, all the programs I've been a part of and everyone I've worked with, and even myself, the less time you give yourself to put this together, the better. The more time you give yourself to put this together, the more you get spiraling and wondering, and who is it and who is it not? So there's 3 parts to this: the people, the pain problem, and the product. And I'm going to go through these slides and then give us time to write. And we will continue this. And you can continue this offline because I'll post up the video on it as well. So the shortest way to speak it is I help these people with this pain problem, their main struggle, achieve this product. Now I say product instead of promise because of intangibles and tangibles, which I'll explain it later. The people. Who have you helped? So we start off at your decision state number 8. Now, someone who's already been coaching and already confident doesn't need to start at his decision number state number 8. But the first pitch that you want to write out is the one that you're in full knowing on. Who have you helped at decision state number 8? What are you confident to solve at decision state number 8? What results have you helped others get at decision state number 8? Now, if you haven't had any clients and you don't know who you've helped, then we start with simple examples just to help the practice of writing it and saying it. So I remembered both of my kids used to take showers. So I just wrote a simple example. I helped my cold, wet, showered boys put their clothes on. I help my husband find his keys. What I'm doing in this practice of the simple examples is increasing my ability to say this out loud and to own it, that I can own that I help people. Because this particular word help is a big shift in us if we are able to land that, yeah, damn it, I can help people. When you're sitting in front of somebody and you have to tell them that I help somebody do something, it's the I help part that gets in the way. Really? Am I going to do that? Is that too much pressure on me? Am I promising that? And that's where the raising of the rates also comes up. Like, I can't charge somebody $500 for something. It's the help part that you struggle with. Not even the pain problem in the product. And that's where the whole decision making state, when you're at an 8, you know, yeah, I got that, like no big deal. I've done it 1,000 times. So, like, for what you've done in the past, Monika said, I I was working with international, like that's what my intention was. You, Monika, had that group with the Indian Association, that group in your childhood that you were in like a flow state, glow state, where you were like bringing together so many international people. Colleen, like the way you help people at your current work, the way you stood up and did that workshop, like there are states of being that you have already done that are really easy to do. That's where we start our first sentence, is what we're already doing, what we've already done. We tend to do the opposite and move to the very far reaching, I want to help people at this, like we tend to think of our point B, our end goal, and start our pitch from that direction. Start your pitch from the bottomless, the easiest, simplest place that you already know that you do. And start practicing saying that to people. Instead of trying to reach your perfected state, start with who you've already helped. Instead of something you wish you could do, start with something you've already done. Make the product result tangible. And the next slide is, for example, here are some examples. Life coach, I help busy professionals with burnout get renewed energy. So pain, product. I help leaders with team conflict achieve stronger collaboration. Pain, product. I help overwhelmed parents with connected routines. So the pain is in the overwhelmed parents part instead of I help parents who are overwhelmed. I help women executives change poor habits into sustainable wellness. I help business owners with unclear messaging attract clients. Now, this actual process has 4 parts, 4 and even probably 8 or 9, but I'm doing it systematically, going over it, and then we will practice it in our next call. Not the upcoming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, the next training, we will spend, unless something else comes up and you guys want to do something else, but I feel like we need a solid call. We're not doing anything but just actually writing and practicing. And so then the next step, so first I would have you write this down. We don't have time to do that today. Where you're actually writing your first initial sentences that are simple examples and then moving into your client and your pain and problem. This will take like 10, 15 minutes. Then we move into pitch section number 2, which is make your product tangible. So at the beginning, your product is intangible because you may not have had so much experience with giving people results. When you have more experience in giving tangible results, you turn that intangible into a tangible. Instead of, I help busy professionals with burnout get renewed energy, you would write, because you would have had the experience that you did it, I help busy professionals with burnout find 20% more time in their day. Or find more time in their day. I love numbers in pitches. They're a lot clearer, but they come with practice, which is why in the beginning, for new coaches, they say get in some case studies, get in some free clients. If you're struggling, Monika, with increasing your prices, fuck the increase in prices. Don't do it. Keep your existing prices and get 3, get 5, fill up your calendar to the point that you're still in ease and comfort, 1, 2, 3, with the existing price. And don't worry about the increased price. And build that confidence that you can do that, and then you'll be more confident to increase that price. Tangible versus intangible. So here's a list of tangible outcomes. Landed a new client, increased monthly revenue.
Sorry, Gopi, do you mean to share your screen?
It's shared. Is it shared for everybody?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
see it.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Oh, sorry. Maybe look at the recording if you haven't been seeing it. Oh God, this whole time I've been talking and you didn't know how my screen was shared. Sorry. So you can see it now, Monica, the screen? No?
No, I'll figure it out. It's okay.
I'll just share it again. Maybe it'll pop up. Did it pop up for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So tangible versus intangible. So just for your sake, Monica, just going back real quick, just to show you that there were some bunch of things here. So if you want, you can look at the recording. We'll also do this again in 2 weeks. Okay, make your product tangible, then tangible versus intangible, measurable, visible, landed a new client, monthly revenue, writing a book, launched a program, improved team productivity. I feel like improved team productivity is still a little intangible because it's not data and touchable. So I shouldn't have put that there. And I got this from ChatGPT, this list, by the way. And ChatGPT is really helpful. Intangible outcomes, and I love that it's now 2025 and we can say that without feeling like we're dumb that we couldn't come up with it ourselves. But anyways, intangible outcomes, greater confidence, clarity in decision making, reduced stress, stronger self-trust, feeling aligned and energized. These are intangibles that coaches use a lot, and sometimes they're good, like clarity in decision making. Depending on who you're talking to, maybe they really need the intangible, but generally people are called in more with the tangibles. They feel like, oh yeah, that's something I really want. So this is also about knowing your ideal client. What are some tangibles that they really need? For school leaders, they really need 100% parent participation. They really need 90% attendance in their classrooms instead of more energy. Their teachers, of course, need more energy. But if we said 100% participation for your teachers, let's say less days off for your teachers, that's naturally giving them more energy. That's a tangible versus an intangible. Tangible examples. So life coach, I help busy professionals with burnout. So instead of saying get renewed energy, you could say get more time in their day, find 2 more hours each day, find 20% more time. Or you could even just say get more time. It's a little more tangible because it's a clock with time than renewed energy. Executive coach, I help leaders with team conflict achieve stronger collaboration. Instead of stronger collaboration, you could say 90% participation in all projects, increased monthly revenue. And if you know your ideal client, if you know who you're talking to, you'll be able to, like, you really know their hearts. I really know what school leaders need, so I know how to change this into tangibles for them. That's why we say with your clients, choose people that you are accustomed to working with that you've already worked with instead of your point B, which is who you wish you want to work with, which is why it's nice to hear, Sonja, your realization and your acceptance of yourself that this desire, very powerful desire of working with spiritual people is coming in and you're at a number 1 because it's new. And it's like your awareness that, okay, I'm at a number 1 on this and I'm going to start working on this and moving into that space. So you'll still be speaking when you start crafting that pitch for that spiritual person. You're aware of the things you need to still learn and grow and have more spiritual people in your environment so you're able to identify what is the tangible that they need and what is the intangible that they need. Like what is the language? What is their language? The pitch. So now step number 3. So we do 2. We will sit and work on 2. We will write out 2. We will experience 2. And then we move into 3, which is what is a result that you've achieved by doing what you did. The language of the result is this person struggled with pain problem. In time, she achieved result. And this is the example. So a life coach, I help busy professionals with burnout get more time in their day, find 2 more hours each day, find 20% more time. That's the example. I should have put that to just get more time in their day. But anyways, now here's my result. Like I had Gloria, who was a team leader at Intel. She was so burned out that she procrastinated her projects and didn't meet monthly revenue after only 3 sessions with me. Not only was she promoted at work, this is not a true story, for the next level position, but she had time for a workout at the end of her day. So it's a showing, it's helping that the person you're talking to relate to what you do. And so when you say your pitch, you've got your sentence, you've got your result. And there's more work here that we will discuss in the prospecting space, and that's about point A or point B. Always speak to the point A in your pitch, speak the language of point A. What is someone at point A feeling, experiencing, sensing? Love their problem at point A. Back to the decision line, you will only be able to love your problem at point A if you have very much loved your state at uncertainty and at number 5, at number 3 and number 5. If you have not accepted your number 5 or your number 3, it will be harder for you to accept your client's number point A. It will be harder for you to connect to them because they're not coming to you at the magnificent end result. They're coming to you when they're challenged and when they themselves are in step number 3 and step number 5 on the decisions they need to make. And then paint a picture of point B. So sometimes coaches, and there's rage groups and grief groups, grief coaching and rage coaching, and where you spend a lot of time in victim space, in point A space. And there's a level of consciousness from victim to resting in your knowing, which is another framework that I will teach you. There's the dark night of the soul, which is another framework. All of this comes in prospecting space. And all of that is the difference between point A and point B. My client at point A, me at point A, my client at point B, me at point B. And then when you're able to straddle both naturally, when you're naturally and confident in your point A and your point B, when you see yourself freaking out and you know what you need to do and you give yourself love and you go binge that Netflix, or you just say no to whomever and whatever and you lay down and do nothing, or you mindlessly, whatever Monica was saying, walk around the mall and you're good with it and you're firm with it and you're like, you've made a state 8 decision on it that I'm going to love myself right now and I'm not doing anything else. And I did that for a year. I still went up and down, but like when you're there, then you can connect with somebody who's going to be there because most clients come in at that state. And then when you've also like loved that and then moved that particular part of you to number 8, now you can be like, oh, point B is pretty cool too. The spiritual, like Sonja, I think of you as moving into like wanting to move into a higher point B, the spiritual, the gardening, the soul stuff. And so this is another, training that we would be, meaning another discussion that we would have. And so that's the pitch summary. It may take us 2 sessions to work on this. It's all ongoing and we're moving down the road here. We have technically 1 minute left. I'm here for another 30 if you need. What would you like? Or we could do another 5, 10, whatever.
This was really helpful to see the pitch process. I love the suggestion of starting where you are because, of course, yeah, we're all naturally like, yeah, I go immediately to where I want to be. And it just makes so much sense when you put it that way. So I'm excited to write a pitch of what I've actually done.
Nice, yeah. I wish somebody trained me this way. I'm just realizing I'm gonna say I brag in this moment. I don't brag very often, but I'm just realizing, wow, this is pretty badass because I wish somebody did this with me. Because it was always the stretch and and it brought so much terror. But yeah. And so I had to figure out, no, wait, I can't do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Smart.
sorry. Continue on.
That was really helpful.
I'm good.
I know we'll dive into this and we'll work with this. I was like, I had a moment this week and thinking about some work with my own coach about the difference between the tangibles and the intangibles, that often, like when I have a vision of a tangible that I want, it's the intangible that I need to, I have to like go on the road through the intangible to get to it, that it's not, the road isn't all, it isn't all tangible. And so both like I want for myself to have a relationship between the two, and for those two things to be in conversation with one another, and then also to be able to represent that for my clients, because I do think I've been both like protective of their stories and their experiences, and also I think in an intention to be non-judgmental about, like, I have clients who come to me and say, like, I think I have to leave my job, and and we work through it, and sometimes they leave and sometimes they don't, and I don't care if they leave or they don't. What I care is that they're doing it like deeply rooted to their inner knowing and with their values, and from a place right where they get to the, like, I just I've decided. And so I'm excited to noodle around with how we talk about those tangibles in a way that holds the possibility that a lot of outcomes are good for people.
That would be a nice exercise. Okay, I'll add that to I feel like that would be really good with point A, point B work.
I'll just say, because I'm building my website right now. I'm just starting that process and focusing on the content. And as I've been like looking at a lot of websites, I'm like, oh man, they're all starting to look the same. The coaches, like the words, I'm like, there's no differentiation, And I'm like, even what I have right now feels kind of the same as other people's. And I'm just like, actually, maybe including this, like, I mean, I'm not going to say this exact, like, I helped a client get pregnant, and it's actually, not actually literally, but like what I did is like, I really helped her prioritize self-care because she was going through fertility treatment, which I've also been through, and she got pregnant.
That's big.
And I think if she hadn't focused on self-care, she wouldn't have, because I've been through that like twice.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna write that, like, I helped her prioritize self-care, which led her, which supported her to get pregnant,
It's
And like,
perfect.
that's so much more unique than like, like I help unlock this and like all the crap, that, I mean, it's not crap, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like all sounding very generic, and this is gonna help differentiate it. Like, what did you actually do?
I've
Yeah.
never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like, Monika, you're individuating in a very powerful way. This you're in a space of individuating. Even this, like, everything I hear from you is like differentiating, individuating, like, who the hell am I? And I'm finding me. And it's so beautiful to watch.
Mm.
Agree.
All right, I have to jump because I have to go to a doctor's appointment. So lovely to see everybody.
Yeah.
And I'll see
Likewise,
you
Colleen.
in the circle community. Bye.
Yeah.
Colleen.
I have to jump too, but lovely seeing you guys. I missed you guys last week, so I have to go back and watch that recording, which is supposed to be mind-blowing, and I'm excited. All right, love you guys. Next week.
Monika, take care.
Bye, Monika. Sonja, did you guys have to go? Sonja, did you have anything you wanted to share? Just last thoughts? Not particularly.
No, it just is wonderful. This conversation hits at a really good time. And it's interesting how, and maybe this resonates for you, Ariel, we're sort of somewhat on the same timeline in this. I think that, it's surprising how well it fits. Like, we've gone into this and we've coached the people who are immediately around us, and we've coached in the realm that we used to be in and with what we have. And we have changed, right? We have changed. So our pitch and our coaching has to change. And it just seems like after this arc of 18 months of being in this, or maybe even slightly more since we started, just I'm thinking about the grace of time and what it's done for us in this space, and how powerful just time is for our learning and our development. That unseen, wonderful, helpful element of time. you know, this is a good time to be doing this.
Totally. The other piece I'm taking away from today, and we talked about it before, but it really sank in today, was about loving where you are. And that the ease and the power that's at point A, and the like resistance of like, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Okay. You know, in the way, like, you know, talk about like organizational dynamics and right, like the norming and forming and storming, right? Like that there are just these dynamics that happen when we're becoming, and, you know, either individually or as a group. And, you know, or like when you think about like a child development, like, okay, you know, here we are. You know, this is this stage. And the taking away the judgment and the resistance and the like, oh, this must be wrong because I'm in this stage, feels really liberating.
Oh, even just hearing you say it feels liberating. We're so conditioned to always be pushing ourselves to be more or judging ourselves for not being at 8. Like this materialistic, like a plant grows naturally because it's loved by the sun and water. And it rests in the soil and it just naturally grows. And I'm thinking about myself right now, how can I just like stop, like, and just be and be okay? And like you said, norming and storming. Like if I'm storming, it's okay that I just got in that big thing and almost canceled out a client yesterday, and it's okay. Like it's a mess, and it's okay that sometimes I'm a mess.
Huge lesson, though. It's just a huge lesson. I'm like, I'm amazed. And you saved the client. They came back.
Yeah, luckily. We'll see. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, welcome in. Okay, here we are.
What are you loving about being here right now? What are for you, Ariel, because you mentioned that you love this idea to just be here.
Well, one of the things I wrote down, and I was judging it a little bit because it wasn't like a decision about my business, kind of like who I am. But one of the things that rose up in terms of like on the decision line is the question of like, should I be investing more in my own growth and in my own development, you know, my own business development, my own self-development. And I just like wrote a big check to Jeremy this week. And I think I'm in, right? Like, I think it was like, I think I am in, you know, I like had that decision moment. And it's interesting because the decision, right? The declaration moment, right? Is like often we see other people with their sunglasses on and they've like decided, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to figure it all out, right? I think just being like, what I'm trying to love on is like the not know, you know, just the not totally, you know, the unknown of it, and the sense of like, oh, I'm not going to see all the sides of it yet. And I want to come to, I don't know, like just a deeper knowing about what is my philosophy on the investment in my own development. And, right. And I don't know whether that's like a decision about like what I'm going to budget for my self-development, you know, my like continued learning and self-development for next year, right? Like the kind of like, even like, what's that decision? I think it's like, I think ultimately it's a budget one and it's a time one. And it's helpful to me to just love on the like, oh, that's a decision, and I'm on the decision line, and that's okay.
Mm. Right now, when you're like the sunglasses, and I've decided.
Totally.
I love that. Mm. Yeah.
And like knowing that actually that declaration moment isn't the warm hug that you expect it to be. Gosh, like that's so freeing, because like so often like you make the decision and you're like, oh. Or the declaration, and it's like, all this stuff comes up and like, gosh, I should have, I think that like that, that's the thing that like I wish more people knew about. Because I think it brings up a lot of self-doubt and
Yeah, that we make the declaration thinking that that's the decision. It's just part of the process. And oh yeah, also what you're saying, that there's going to be the awareness that there's going to be a resistance spiral or something else coming up after it. There's a part here that I'm recognizing I didn't spend enough time on, or not that I didn't spend enough time on, that I would love to spend more time on as we continue. And that's the spiritual element of trust that comes in, the unknown, the trust that we are held by spirit, divine, God, universe. People don't want to say God, so we say universe. Whatever it is for you, but we are held. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just kind of telling myself that. I made a decision that I'm on Friday and then Saturday. I made the decision that I will no longer be a part of other programs. It's been 3 years, and not forever. Just in this moment, I will be self-directed now. Because I've been part of so many programs. Like, I've spent so much money on programs. And I just made a decision that temporarily I want to be self-directed. And it was really like a state 8. It was maybe it was still declaration, because it was strong. And I think state 8 is not strong. It's just a knowing. So I'm still trying to figure out if it was at declaration state or at state 8. I think it's still at declaration state. Wow, this whole time I thought it was a state 8 decision. And just as I'm speaking it out loud, I'm recognizing it's at a state 5, a state 4, whatever that state is. That's declaration. Yeah, because the terror is coming too from it. I just closed out my sales coach yesterday. I just said this is my last month with you. I've been with her since 2021. And not forever, but for now, in this moment, I'm going to be self-directed. And maybe after 3 months, I'll sign up again. But I'm going to experience self-direction. Anyways. So there is the terror. So yeah, that was his declaration. So what I was trying to tell you, because you were talking about the terror, that there's the terror that's coming with that. And maybe it's just, yeah, working through that unknown. And oh yeah, that's what I was trying to go. So I'm all over the place here because I'm worried about taking up time when I'm supposed to be holding space for both of you. I think so. I'm a little worried about bringing attention to my issue, but the trust. I'm trying to lean into trust that I'm self-directed because I'm not self-directed. I'm trying to become more connected to Krishna. That's what it is that it's a co-creation, and I'm trying to bring my trust more in the spirit realm, in the spiritual realm. That's why I made this decision.
It's a big decision. I mean, I have to say, I felt that maybe you did too, Ariel, after our year of coaching and being, held, and there was a period of time, and I said goodbye to my coach at the same time that I just got certified, and she had been with me all through that, and I said goodbye to it, all of it, in like April or May, whenever that was, and like, oh, that felt so like lonely all of a sudden, right? I think that's why I said yes to Jeremy first and then said yes to this. It's like, not ready to be self-directed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore I admire that, Gopi.
It's interesting you're saying I'm telling myself self-directed, and as you're speaking, I'm recognizing that actually I said goodbye to her, but I made a decision to go to the lectures at the temple more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually just moving the direction from here to there. It's not a financial, I don't need to pay for it, but
I'm also hearing behind this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, there's like you are augmenting or allowing space for your co-creation or relationship with the unseen around you, Krishna, your spiritual community, to be your partner now more than it has been before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that for you, Ariel, you made a decision, like almost like you made the decision to sign up with Jeremy, and that brought in the number 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a decision to let go of somebody and maybe also bring in, and that brought in the number 5. That whatever the decision or the declaration is, the number 5 is part of the process and will come after.
It's just there. Yeah. And it, like it's possible to give a category to like give a label, like, oh, it's like I'm investing in coaching, and or I'm investing in the self-development. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of how I think about like the CTI work was kind of like for external stuff. It was like skill acquisition and credentialing, and and I like there was like some dips in to deeper work, but it was very still much like externally facing. And I think the more that I am allowing myself to be seen and to root in to this new identity and role, the more I'm appreciating how, like how important it is that the inner work match the outer work, and also that I don't want to tolerate like the bypass, and that the suffering that I have had in so many spaces in my life, not just professionally, personally, is the kind of like, I'm here and it's supposed to feel this way, and it doesn't feel inside how I want to feel. And so kind of getting even, I mean, I think this program straddles the inside and the outside really beautifully. That's a gift that you have, Gopi. And it's like, it has an outer facing, right? It's like about the business building, and realizing that like, oh, there's a part of my whole self that's like, no, keep being seen, center your experience. And and the thing that and like the way that Jeremy coaches is like, cannot not be seen, right? You cannot, like, there's no hiding, there's no storytelling, there's no intellectualizing. It's like just it's like really exposed. And so even just realizing like, oh, like it's not, in a way, like I'm saying like, no, it's not that I'm like not a good enough coach, right? This is not a judgment on, like, oh, I need more to be worthy. It's like, oh, a learning is that actually I'm getting better at noticing what I need. And
I love that. That's a big, like, you made a big commitment towards yourself. You prioritized yourself, your identity, and being seen. Like, that's like, and the internal, like
yeah,
you committed to that internal work. And I remember when we first started, you mentioned that you are really, what you wanted to do was take up more space for your internal, because you're really good at the external, the tangibles. And you're like, and that you did it. Like you just committed to your internal. It's going to be terrifying, but like the five is here, but wow. Like declaration, celebration, absolutely. Like that's big, Ariel. That's really big.
it is big. I like feel the the like the sensation all the way through,
Yeah.
all the way up the midline. Like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear that, how that is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To being seen in that space, seeing yourself first, to being accepting that you're going to see yourself, is honoring that I want to honor that you did that. Yeah.
I feel complete for today.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Me too. We'll
Yeah.
see you all next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you. See you next
Yeah.
week.
Bye, Gopi.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ariel. Bye.